Lack of productivity can burn out a lot of entrepreneurs. We have massive, ever-growing to-do lists because we are ambitious, we have big goals, and we aren't afraid to work hard to get them. I know you know what I'm talking about. But if you aren't actively working on being more productive in a way that works for you, you will reach the point of no return, my friend. You will burn out. You will go MIA from society and social media. Everyone will wonder who kidnapped you because you have vanished from this planet. And then they will forget about you. And they'll move on to the next coach who's showing up and giving them what they need. All right, I'm being a little bit dramatic, but it is so true. And one way to prevent burnout is to get more productive. So let's dive in with mindset coach Claudia Garbutt as she shares more about productivity and how to get started in being more productive on the daily so you don't burn out. You're listening to the Badass is the New Black podcast. I'm Krissy Chin, your host, here to teach you how to build an online business that you love and in a way that allows you to work a little bit less so you can enjoy a whole lot more. My hope is that you've showed up to today's episode ready to learn something new and will be inspired to take imperfect action in your business right away. I won't make you wait any longer. Let's dive in. All right, welcome everyone. And I want to introduce Claudia Garbutt. I may be totally botching that. You can correct me if I am. She's a mindset coach. I'm super excited to have Claudia here today. I'm going to give you a little bit of background and then she's going to give us some more. So Claudia is a molecular biologist turned mindset coach for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to shatter invisible ceilings and up-level their business and life. After deciding she wanted to spend more time with her family, she left academia and became a certified life coach, as well as certified CBT and NLP practitioner, and now combines the best of both worlds in her coaching business. Her holistic, science-based approach helps entrepreneurs fight the constant overwhelm, doubt, and worry, and teaches them to leverage the power of their mind to create more inner peace, income, and impact. I just love it. I love so much of that. Thank you, Claudia, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes, and I feel like we're a little bit connected because I was a nurse, am a nurse, right? I still have my license, but, not practicing as a nurse. So we have this little science background connection here, and now we're entrepreneurs. So I love that. Thank you for being here, connecting with us. And I'm really excited for you to share more about productivity with the community here. But before we get into that, because that's going to be our topic for today, let's hear more about, your journey, what led you, because that is, a big shift. You didn't go to business school, right? Just like me. And so it's kind of a big shift. So I want to hear a little bit more of your story about what led you to making this big shift in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time do you have? Because that's quite a long story. But to maybe just focus on some key points. So my entrepreneurial journey could probably be titled The Unexpected Journey, because unlike so many other entrepreneurs, I never wanted to become one. And I studied biology because I was driven by my curiosity, because I wanted to understand how life works on basically every level. And this is still one of my major driving forces, although my focus has slightly shifted. So why did I change my career path? Well, I've had a couple of those key experiences that slowly but steadily shifted my focus. And the first one was probably when I got suddenly diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 28. And that pretty much turned my whole life upside down just from one day to the next. And I clearly remember my first reaction to that diagnosis, which, strange as it might sound, was a sense of relief. Now that's odd, right? So why relief? Because at that point in my life, I was suffering from a major burnout, and being sick just finally gave me a break. So I was really relieved that I didn't have to go back to work for weeks, even months. And to understand that, you have to know that I grew up in a family where everyone was always busy and everyone was working very, very hard. And you didn't just take a break. Breaks were for the lazy, for the elderly, or for the sick. So finally, I had the right excuse, if you want, to take that break without feeling bad, going through chemotherapy, a break that is, which obviously wasn't fun. But it sounds so weird when I say it out loud now, but that's often the case when we talk about these things that are really holding us back from doing the sensible things, right? Mm-hmm. They make perfect sense in our heads, but when you actually talk about them, they sound ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And anyway, that was probably the first time that I ever started to really question those beliefs that I grew up with. So is it really necessary to work 24/7? Is struggle really noble? Do I have to fulfill everyone else's expectations? So, I mean, a near-death experience is something that really changes a lot. And suddenly, you just start asking questions that you maybe have never asked yourself before. And you start asking yourself those important questions, like, do I like my life right now? Or do I like the direction in which I'm going? Or what would I regret not having done if I died soon? Mm-hmm. And I realized at that point in my life that my entire life was just dominated by fear. And I only made fear-based decisions. And I chose to stay in that familiar suffering because I was too afraid to face any new uncertainty. I just couldn't deal with it. And then I decided that things needed to change, and I was too young to die. And there were things I wanted to experience, and I wanted a loving relationship. I wanted kids. I wanted to live abroad. I wanted to find a job that really fulfills me. And I had so much to live for, and that kind of relieved me of that constant fear. Mm-hmm. So now I'm proud to say that I've accomplished all of these things, but it's still been a roller coaster getting there. And I just want everyone else out there to know that you don't have to wait for those experiences. You don't have to wait for these bad things happening to you before you give yourself permission to change direction. You can do that at any point in your life. And this is just something that's so important that I just wanted to share with everyone out there.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that, because I was thinking that when you were talking about it, and I was thinking about, in my life when, I haven't had a near-death experience, but, same type of thing where it's like getting me to look at my life. Do I want it to continue like this? And I love that you just gave everyone listening the permission to not wait until a life-threatening, near-death experience or traumatic event to stop and assess and take a look at what life looks like now. And is this what you want it to look like for the next 20, 30, 40 years? And if not, it's okay to make a change, to make a shift. It's okay. Like, we give you permission to do that. Right? And I think that's just so powerful and liberating for some. And it's really scary. And you mentioned, fear, and fear can stop us from doing a lot of things and cause us to do different things. So, also just permission to release that fear and not operate from a fear-based place, I think can be really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and such a powerful, hard but liberating journey that you've had to get here. How have things, life been really since you've made this shift from academia to entrepreneurial life? I mean, we know, you and I know, it's not always easy. But so how have things shifted for you?
I think after that initial shift, it was still a roller coaster, and I still hadn't found the path that I'm on now. I think probably the next defining moment was when I had my own kids, and just being in the lab 24/7 wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted for me or for my growing family. So I had to find something else. And even though I had no idea what that would look like, and after giving it a ton of thought, I finally came to the conclusion that building my own online business would be the best option, as it allowed me to work flexible hours and to be location independent. And that was something that I really wanted, because my husband is from New Zealand. We used to live over there. We moved back to Germany and we weren't quite sure where we would end up. So that's why I really wanted to have something flexible.
Yeah.
And I've tried a couple of different things online, and I honestly experienced probably every single mindset block that you can have. So from feeling like an imposter to the fear of failure and the fear of judgment and perfectionism and everything in between. So since I'm very stubborn and I don't give up easily, I just worked my way through all of these things as they came up. But at the same time, I also saw so many other entrepreneurs out there struggle with the exact same issues. And that's why I became a certified life coach and a certified CBT and NLP practitioner, just to help others work through the same mindset issues that I was facing too. Mm-hmm. And finally, it kind of like all fell into place when I found a way to incorporate my biology background into the mix, and then specialized in helping other entrepreneurs rewire their brains for more success in life and business. Mm-hmm. That's when I felt that I had found my true calling, because I can now help people work through these issues on a physiology level, as well as on a psychology level, leveraging the body-mind connection. And that's what makes it so powerful, because it works on so many different levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Super powerful. So amazing. I noticed when you were in that last little bit, the next question that I was going to ask you about your strengths, you kind of talked about it, and maybe you have more and you can share with us, but your personal strengths that you have within you that you've been able to leverage to, keep you moving forward in your entrepreneurial journey, to generate the success that you've had. And you mentioned your stubbornness. And while some people might think, it's like, oh, your biggest weakness is your biggest strength. I think, for you, it sounds like your stubbornness is what has really kept you, able to move forward and to work through those difficult things. And like, no, I got this. Like, even with, getting sick, like, I'm not going to die. Like, I'm not ready to die. Like, I'm stubborn and I'm going to get through this. And you did. Are there any other strengths that you've recognized that have really, helped you build your business?
That's a great question. I would probably say that one of my key strengths is that I'm very analytical as well as very intuitive. So I'm usually very good at reading people and figuring out the root causes of their problems that they are often not aware of. So they are usually aware of some like surface level problem that they are having, and this is more often than not just a symptom of something much deeper that's going on underneath, and that I can help them become aware of, because you can't change what you're not aware of, right?
Yeah.
So helping them become aware of the real issues and then guiding them to overcome them, or to overcome these blocks, is what I would probably call my superpower.
Love that. I love that. We all have superpowers. I mean, this podcast is Badass is the New Black. And part of that is just finding your inner badass self. Like, we're all badass already. Like, let's find those inner strengths. Let's pull them out and let's use them to generate the success that we want. So I love that. I love yours. I love that yours are different than mine, but you've been able to be successful and like love what you're doing. And I've been able to be successful. So thank you so much for sharing that. I want to dive into productivity, because this is, and I was so excited to bring you on the podcast and talk, because this is just something I too am always working on, getting better at being productive, with multiple brands and teams. I've got a lot on my plate. So productivity is money to me. Right.
Exactly.
There's a lot of other people, doing homeschool now and raising a family and trying to run business and all this stuff. So let's get down to like the root causes of, productivity problems. What are the root causes?
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it, productivity is one of those surface level problems that I was just talking about. To me, it's a symptom of some much deeper issues going on. And I can see three main causes that lead to a decrease in productivity, if you want. So number one that I'm seeing a lot is just the missing clarity around someone's purpose and mission or strategies, which often leads just to procrastination and people spinning their wheels and not getting anywhere. And the second thing that I see a lot is working against the way that your brain actually processes information, which makes things so much harder because you're effectively working against your brain instead of with the way that your brain is wired. And the third one that I see a lot is a lack of prioritization and time management, which leads to overwhelming confusion. But most strategies out there, or most courses or things out there, they just teach you the time management piece, the strategies. But if you only focus on those and you don't look at the other things, you might just try to fix the symptom without addressing the real core issues that are going on. Yeah. So that's the way I see productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking of, I always say, I need to do this, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, I want to do that. And, I don't have time. Oh, wait a minute. It's not that I don't have time. I haven't made it a priority. So since I've kind of learned that, the excuses thing of like, I don't have time, I don't know how to do it. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I have the time. Am I making it a priority? And exactly. So is that the real issue of like, it's not becoming a priority? And then looking deeper and internally, why am I not making it a priority? Is it because I'm afraid of failing at it? Is it because I'm afraid that I really don't know how to do it? And I might waste all this time trying to learn and then I won't be successful. Like, what is that vicious cycle, tornado going around inside subconsciously? And so, I've learned these strategies and been able to bring them from subconscious to conscious. And then you can address them. Then you can work through them. Then you can, crush them and be like, wait a minute, I got this. That's not an excuse anymore. And then you can come up with a new excuse, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what usually happens.
Right.
That makes us humans, right? We're not perfect and we will never be perfect, but we can always try to just get a little bit better. And that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how are you, you mentioned these certifications that I actually am not really familiar. Maybe I am, and I just don't know the acronyms that are used. And so how are you, helping entrepreneurs become more productive?
So about the acronyms, so CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, and NLP is Neuro Linguistic Programming.
Okay.
Word. So it helps people really become aware of what's going on underneath, and then addressing it on a conscious level as well as on a subconscious level. But what I did for example, I was working on this new productivity course for entrepreneurs that teaches them to win back 1 to 2 hours of precious time each day. What I did there is I really focused on those root causes that I just told you about. So in this course, I'm taking them through different steps. So it's just a 5-day course because I wanted to really zoom in on these things and not to put everything in there that they could do and give them all the strategies and to overwhelm them even more. I really wanted to focus and drill down to the basic things. So we're looking at uncovering those root causes we talked about. Then we focus on being productive versus being busy, because a lot of people think productivity is just cramming more things into their day, which is really not what productivity is all about. And then I also teach them some brain-based productivity hacks that makes it just easier for them to get the work done without draining their energy so much and without spending too much time on it. And then I also help them to create their personal action plan for achieving their goals. So it's really streamlining it and bringing it all from the big picture to the actual action plan that they can go and implement straight away.
I love that. I love that. Can you give us just a little bit of like inside of like determining the root causes, a little bit for people to maybe get started at home, to just kind of figure out the root cause of what's keeping them from being productive?
I think a good thing to think about is really to just think about what productivity really means to you. So what does it mean to you to be more productive? Is it that you want to do more things during your day? Is it that you want to increase your sales? If so, how many sales do you want to generate? You want to be really specific about how you define productivity or success. Or is learning a new skill, for example, is that productive? Or do you see that as a waste of time? So you want to really drill down on what it means to you and how this relates to all the different areas in your life, so that you can really define what you want to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of like, oh yeah, like duh, right? Let's look and figure out what our own, like we're all different. We're all unique. So we all have a different, measure of success. We all have a different definition of failure. We all have different productivity goals, right? So yeah, that seems so key to figure out, what does being productive look like for me? What do I wish I could achieve in this amount of time? Or like, I love those little things. So I think that's a good nugget for you guys listening to think about, what productivity looks like for you. Like, what would it look like? What would you want it to look like, to kind of get you started on that path to being more productive?
Yeah, because it's not universal, right? Just as you said, it's not universal. So often we grow up and we think that what we believe what productivity is the same for everyone, or our definition is the same for everyone else. And this is just not the case. It's just your conditioning, your experiences, they all define what you understand under productivity or success, or what you see as a failure. So that's a really good thing, to just question what you understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Because our brains are completely different. They function differently. They think differently, operate differently. Like, while your brain, yes, can tell your arm to go up and mine can tell my arm to go up, like that internal thought process is so different. And kind of these definitions of things that seem very concrete, but actually are not, right? Yeah. Like productivity and what it means to you. So super cool, super helpful. Before we dive into and give them your freebie, because I want to connect them with that and let them connect with you, I'd love to know, because this has to do with productivity, and I love learning about systems and process that other entrepreneurs are incorporating and implementing into your business. So what is, a system or a process that you have implemented for you that's been a complete game changer for your business?
Well, that would have to be my own productivity system. But to make it more concrete, what I wasn't doing in the beginning, I was just trying to wing it. So I had this big goal at the end, and then I was just trying to wing it and get there, but I didn't have a strategy, a plan. And then I started to implement monthly and weekly plans, and to just really to take the big goal down to break it up into those milestones for each month. And then you take those and break them down to weekly milestones. And then you create your action steps. And then it's all aligned, and one thing leads to the next. And that is something that really changed everything. I mean, it's so simple. Mm-hmm. It's really so simple, but it's so powerful to just have a plan.
Yeah. It's often the simplest things that make the biggest impact. Right? It is. And I want to point out that you started by winging it. Like, I think that's super powerful, that while I love teaching, systems process, how you can build a team to support you and automation to support your business, so you're not doing everything and you still have free time to do the things that you love and be uber productive. You know, you don't start with perfect systems and process. And that often happens by trial and error. So, you know, as much as Claudia is going to help you kind of eliminate some trial and error with being more productive, you know, as your coach, you know, and I do the same thing, there's still some trial and error that has to happen. And you don't start perfect. So the fact that you just started winging it, I love that. And that's an inspiration to me and others. Like, you just have to start there, and then you can get the guidance along the way to make those, to fine tune the process and to create those systems that can make things so much better. And again, it's often the little tiny ones that make the biggest impact.
Yeah, it's the ones that are almost common sense, but nobody actually does them.
Yeah. So amazing. So tell us about the freebie that you have, because we'll put that link for them in the show notes. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I've got a great free resource for your audience, and I think they will love it. So on my website, you can download a free Prime Your Brain in 5 minutes each day audio file that is specifically designed for those ambitious and mission-driven entrepreneurs out there who are ready to get to that next level of success and who want to get there with ease and flow. So in my own experience, and also from talking to a lot of other entrepreneurs, I know that many of us, they are already waking up they are waking up and are already stressing out about their never-ending to-do lists and about all their daily worries. So by simply listening to my short brain priming audio file every day, just after waking up, you will find that you can focus your mind on the important things rather than on your worries, and thus you will start your day so much more relaxed and inspired. And it will also help you stay focused throughout the day, which will also help you eliminate stress, overwhelm, and procrastination. So that's a great thing to incorporate.
That sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to be downloading that. Yesterday, I was outside after the nanny had left, and the kids were riding bikes. And my daughter says to me, she says, "Mom, when are you going to be done with work? Like, when are you not going to have any more work to do?" And I said, "Oh, sweetie, I am always going to have work to do." I said, "But I'm taking the time right now. I'm done with work for now." And she goes, "Oh, because we want a lake house." And I said, "Exactly. Like, yes, there will always be work to do because we're working for that lake house." But it was so sweet. But it is true. Like, we have these ever-growing to-do lists. And as an entrepreneur, if you have that drive in you, it's never going to stop. When you're done, you're just going to create more things to serve more people and do the things that you love. So it's such a blessing. And so it's definitely something that I think this will be valuable, so that you don't let it get a hold of you. Right? Like, it's okay to have long to-do lists and ever-growing to-do lists, but to not let it stress you out. So I think that will be super powerful. So show notes, grab the link there, download that audio file. And then you mentioned the course that you have, this 5 days to getting your life back productivity course. So we are going to put the link for that in the show notes as well. If you were kind of like, "Ooh, that sounds like juicy and amazing and super valuable for my business," we'll put that link in the show notes as well for you to access. Any other little last nuggets that you want to share before we're going to play a little game? So before we play our little game and give everyone, how they can find you, do you have any last little nuggets that you want to share?
Good question. Always question your truth. That's the one thing that I found so valuable. Just whatever you think is true, question it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do it. All right. So we're going to play a little game I like to call rapid fire. So for those of you that haven't heard this yet, I'm just going to say 2 things to Claudia, and she, right off the top of her head, she's going to pick which one is more fitting for her. Just a fun little way for you to get to know her. If neither of the options, you're like, okay, neither of those fit me, you can throw out an alternative. Okay?
Awesome.
All right. We've got 10 of them. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
Quick. All right. So for example, like beer or wine? Go.
Wine.
Okay, perfect. She didn't even have to do an alternative like straight vodka, like tequila, right? Okay, so she's a wine girl. She's red or white?
Why? I don't know. I like the red wine. I don't like beer too much.
Okay, so she's a red. Send Claudia red wine, you guys. All right. Okay, so let's go. Books or podcasts?
Both.
Both. Okay, well, so for books, audiobooks or reading? An actual
audiobooks.
Audiobooks?
Both. Well, actually both. I start with the audiobooks at the moment, and then I buy the physical book as well.
Okay, cool. Heels or flats?
Flats.
Phone call or text?
Ooh, good one. Text.
She prefers text. All right. Movie or TV series? If you're going to
TV series.
Pajamas or real clothes on the daily? While you're working at home. She's a real clothes girl. I got dressed up in real clothes just for you, Claudia.
Thank you.
All right. Plain water or flavored water?
Plain, but sparkly.
Sparkly. Okay, I like it. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Bath or shower?
Oh, both are great.
All right, she's a 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50 probably.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Cats. I've got two.
Two cats. Okay. And last but not least, big gathering or small gathering?
Small gathering.
All right. So much fun. Thank you, Claudia, for chatting with us today. If you want to connect with Claudia, you can find her on Instagram, Wired for Success. It's at wired_for_success. I think it's, let me check. I will just put it in the show notes. We'll put it in the show notes, you guys. But Wired for Success, you can search that on Instagram. Also Facebook, LinkedIn. She's got a podcast, Wired for Success. So all the links to those will be in the show notes. So please connect with Claudia. Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure. And until next time, you guys, remember to channel your inner badass and take imperfect action every single day.
Thank you.
Until next time, remember, done is better than perfect, my friend, and to channel your inner badass and take imperfect action every single day.